Hello, hi. This is Buona from Buona.tv, and I've got a juicy one for you today. This is a question I got probably about 70 times. I'm being generous. People want to know, how in the world do you podcast? Give us a tutorial on podcasting. It's kind of hard to do a podcasting tutorial without actually doing a podcast, you know? So what I decided to do was kind of give you guys some pointers, do a quick demonstration on my desktop on my setup, and maybe we can learn something together on how to best do this. I'm going to break it out into 3 sections just to try to keep it as non-lengthy as possible, because this could easily get into the 30-minute to an hour video range. 3 sections. First one is motivation. We really want to get you motivated to podcast before you even do it. You got to have the proper motivation, and it needs to be genuine. Don't lie to yourself. You don't want to lie to yourself. The second thing is equipment. You know, I know a lot of people are salivating at the mouth. Oh, podcasting equipment, new shiny material. But equipment is not important as you think it is. So I'll talk about that. And then finally, production. Production of the podcast. Things to keep in mind as you produce, and the techniques of keeping your community engulfed, and to be consistent with your production, and to try to increase your quality as you go along. Just some things to talk on. So those are the main 3 things. Step 1, motivation. Motivation is the most important thing in podcasting. There's a term called pod fading. Pod fading is when podcasters get a few podcasts under their belt. They find that the schedule, the actual work involved behind podcasting, and there is work involved, is a little bit too much, and they kind of fade out and they quit, and they say, I don't want to do this anymore. It ain't worth it. So to avoid pod fading, you must pick a podcast topic that you are passionate about, that you are absolutely insanely passionate about. Something that you can, here's a good example. Something that you can sit down with someone who has never heard of the topic, and you can talk to them for 15 minutes straight about that topic without them saying a word. Challenge yourself to do that. If you can talk for 15 minutes straight about that topic without them saying a word. Just imagine someone, you and someone are stuck in an elevator, and they say, hey, what do you think about cooking? And you go, and you go for 15 minutes, and next thing you know, their hair is like backwards because you talk so fast and so far and so long. But make sure you're passionate, that you can talk about it, and you love it. That way, that will deter the pod fade effect. Your passion will motivate you to keep going. If the work gets too much, you know, you'll find yourself enjoying talking about it more so than the work involved in doing it. And the monetary aspect of podcasting. Some people get frustrated when they don't get paid, when they don't make money. I want to make money off podcasting. If money is your motivation, you're going to pod fade, because it's not easy to make money on podcasting. Trust me, it ain't easy. It ain't easy making money on podcasting. So make sure it's something that you love and you will continue to do. Otherwise, you'll be in the podcasting graveyard with the other folks. Now me, I do my stuff on tech news and reviews. That's a wide range of stuff. If I find myself tired of talking about tech news, then I'll get on a soapbox and ramble about some social networking topic or something. Or I'll get a product that I just bought, like an HP Mini, and talk about it and review it, give my thoughts on it. You know, that kind of gets you out of the rut of doing the same thing over and over and over again. Another thing to keep yourself motivated is to get guest speakers, or get a co-host. If you know that somebody else is counting on you to be there and to do the podcast, it kind of motivates you to get going. If you do one by yourself, you know, it's real easy to cancel. I'm just not going to do a show. It's real easy to cancel. But if you got a co-host, or you got a guest speaker, or someone else that you have to be accountable for, that kind of gets you out of that lazy mindset. So motivation is very, very important. Hey guys, part two. Part two is equipment. I'm going to do the Blair Witch thing here and hold the microphone in my hand. Cloverfield effect and effect and effect and effect and effect. You need three basic components, and they don't have to be very, very expensive. The first thing you need is a microphone. Now this can be your built-in microphone on your computer, or it can be something as simple as this, like a headset with a microphone. Hey, Bleach is in the background. With a microphone attached here. You can get a simple thing like this for like 20 bucks at Best Buy. I can't say Circuit City anymore because there'll probably be no more Circuit Cities when you watch this. So get a cheap microphone to start with. Now, it's not as important to have the best equipment. Now, this is something I got after about a year of podcasting. I got this particular microphone. It is a Marshall MXL V67 condenser mic, and it cost me 300 bucks. Very, very expensive, but it has lasted at least 3 years for me. So, wow, I've been podcasting that long. Yeah, I've been podcasting that long. It's got a 3-year life for me, so the investment is very good. It's very, very warm sound, and you'll definitely need a mixer for this type of thing. Now, you don't have to have a mixer to get started. But if you find yourself needing a condenser mic as you go, I say at least get 50 shows under your belt before you're thinking about a condenser mic. Then you're going to need a mixer as well. Next thing you need is a computer. I'm using a MacBook Pro, as you can see behind me. That's my main computer that I use to podcast on. And I use the software. I used to use GarageBand, but if you're just getting started, I recommend you get a piece of software called Audacity. Audacity, A-U-D-A-C-I-T-Y. Audacity. Ding! Yeah, Audacity. Just Google Audacity. It's free for Mac, Windows, and Linux. Free software, open source software that allows you to record audio and to manipulate it. So that's a great way to get started. That's how I got started. I used Audacity. But now I use a piece of software called Ubercaster. And when we get into production, I'll talk about Ubercaster. It's pretty pricey, but it's worth the post-production. And so you get yourself a mic, a computer, and the third thing I said was software. Make sure you get that software to do these shows. Now, some people will even start with like Windows Recorder to do the podcast, but you can't do a lot of editing and things like that. But Audacity is my recommendation. Cheap microphone and a computer, Mac, Windows, or Linux will work with Audacity. Just make sure your microphone works with your computer and you're set. So motivation, most important thing, but equipment. You need a computer, you need a microphone, and you need software. And the third component of podcasting is production. And this is where you actually have done a few podcasts and you need to get into the routine of producing show notes and creating content and creating an RSS feed and doing all those things that are required for a podcast. So let me just quickly talk through those. The first thing you need is a website. You don't have to have a website, but it's nice to have a website for your user community to interact. Mine is radio.bwana.org. And that's where you can find an archive of all my shows, the show notes, links, promo codes, all that good stuff. You'll need an RSS feed. Most website engines, such as WordPress, provide that freely via plugins. There's WordPress podcasting plugins you can have, or you can use dedicated feed software like Feeder for Mac, which is what I use. And finally, you need to have a schedule. You need to have a set schedule. I try to do 1 to 2 shows a week, and this is the part I'm very bad on, is that I do not have a good track record of keeping a set schedule. I try to do every Tuesday and Thursday, but I'm a very busy guy. And like I said, if you do a podcast by yourself, it's easy to cancel. But most times when I cancel, it's for a very, very good reason. But keep a set schedule. Do something realistic. Don't try to do a daily podcast right off the bat. Do something realistic. Try to do weekly first, or monthly, or bi-weekly, or something like that before you move to like 3-4 shows a week, because it can be a lot. Now, what you're looking at here, you're probably wondering, this is this podcasting software that I use, and I want to briefly talk about the different kind of ways you can do production. You can do offline production where you record everything and you get all your video and audio segments into your software, which is Audacity, and then you edit it, and then you post, do all your post edits and apply whatever filters you need, and then you post it. Or you can do what I do, which is what the software I'm showing you is called Ubercaster. This allows me to do a live podcast, and what I can do is I can do live sound effects right within this program. And this is what the dashboard looks like. I can have different, in this case, here are my different openings. Here's a Tech Podcast sounder. Here's my microphone. And as I'm recording, I'm going to do a quick recording here so you guys can see. As I'm recording, it'll move the bar to the left. I'm from left to right. And I can hover over each sound without clicking on the mouse. This is a great feature because you don't want mouse clicks to come over the microphone. And it'll play that sound effect. So it's playing that Tech Podcast sounder now. You may not be able to hear it because I have it going through my mixer. And my live stream at live.bwana.tv can hear all of these sound effects that are happening right now. As you can see, it's capturing my voice in the microphone here and everything. So as I'm doing the sound effects and sounds and everything in the podcast, it's being recorded as I do it. The benefit of that is post-production is simple. I don't have to do any post-editing. I can come down here on this dial and go right to release. And from here, I can give it an episode name, like 189 or something. It'll automatically name the file. I'll just have to edit some tags here. Call it BDO episode 89. And then I can upload it to my server by checking that box, select an encoding preset, and then just release it. It'll do everything for me. It'll create the MP3 file, it'll encode it, and it'll upload it to my server. And the only thing I have left to do is create my show notes, which is very, very easy and very, very cool to do. So this is the reason why I invested in Ubercaster, was that I was able to do a one-take podcast, a live podcast. And this is something you should work towards when you're podcasting. It's not something that's easy to do right off the bat. But if you can get to this point where you do a one-take podcast, you click record, you click stop, and you click publish, post-production becomes easy. It becomes really, really simple to do shows, and really, really simple to, to look forward to that next one, because you don't have a lot of work to do after you finish. Now, I mentioned that you can use blogging software to do the RSS feed for you. RSS stands for Really Simple Syndication. And it's a way for your users to subscribe to your podcast show, for users to get the latest episodes of your show without having to visit your website. And this is done through podcatcher applications, such as iTunes, such as Juice, I believe is the name of them. The Zune software has podcasting catching capability. So all of these software packages can do that once you set up an RSS feed. Here you see a window of Feeder, and this is my latest episode that I did, and it takes care of all the headache for me. Now, in this program, this is how I build my show notes. I put in a title, article link, author, tags, and then I put the enclosure URL here, and then I put the HTML of my particular show notes. Now, this is sort of a template. The only thing I really need to change are the show numbers and what I talked about at the top. Everything else pretty much stays the same. And when I click on preview, this is what it will look like in the HTML viewer or wherever I post this. Once I've done that in Feeder, I can just, what I usually do, I know some people say, well, this is extra work. For me, it's less of a headache because Feeder always produces valid RSS. Never have problems with it. All my users love it. So it's actually working pretty well. I then go to radio.bwana.org and I can copy and paste this into a new blog post and it's done. Simple as that. So if you come to my show at live.bwana.tv on Tuesday and Thursday nights, the post-production never takes more than 5 to 10 minutes. The hardest part for me is coming up with a title for the name of the show. I usually ask my users what to call the title of the show, and that takes a few minutes because sometimes we have to vote on all that stuff. So this is how you can create an RSS feed with Feeder, but like I said, if you got a blogging engine like WordPress or Blogger, I believe Blogger will support it. They will allow you to do this right from the blogging engine itself. So those are some of the podcasting tips that I want to give you. Like I said, it's not necessarily a tutorial, but more along the lines of here's some guidelines to creating a podcast, some of the basics on how to get started, what you should focus on in the beginning, and then what you should strive towards as you get more experience and more shows under your belt. Remember, it's all about motivation, equipment, and it's about production. But remember that motivation is key. Pick a topic that you love. Doesn't have to be tech. Could be cooking. Could be rock collecting. Could be stamps. I don't know. Could be bird watching. Could be going to the zoo. Could be animals. I mean, anything you are passionate about. Pick a topic like that to podcast about. This is Buana from Buana.tv. Hope this podcast tutorial helped. And I'm pretty sure I'm going to be getting follow-up questions. So I'll see you guys later.